Hey, gang. Today's episode about get out of debt now. Is there any good debt? I know in the society we live in, we've been hypnotized. We've been brainwashed to believe that there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? A lot of popular booksellers and authors talk about how there's good debt. And I'm here to tell you that there is no good debt. Debt is a controlling instrument that controls you, that changes the way you think, that manipulates you to think that you're bigger and stronger and you have more. In reality, you may not. I'm not talking about you in personal, the public, the borrowers in general. Now, there's a lot of debtpreneurs out there, a lot of debtpreneurs. And what that means is that they have businesses or they have success, they have flashy stuff, flashy homes, jets, planes, because it's not paid for, and they borrowed it. Okay. So if you add up all their money they have, money coming in, and the debt they have, if you ended it all up, it'll be a subtotal of negativity, which means the bank owns them. But the problem with debtpreneurs, the problem with debt is that in the 2020 collapse, so many people believe that debt is the way to become better. For example, let me give you an example of an investor that we've talking to. Okay, you can have an investor that's making, let's say, $100,000 a year at a job. And then what they do is they go borrow one house, buy it, income producing cash flow house, and they buy another one, then they buy another one, and then they work themselves up to 10 properties. Okay. And they're thinking, hey, man, I'm making a lot of money because each property, let's say, spits off $2,000 a month. They got 10 properties. That's 20 grand a month. Okay. And maybe their mortgage service payment is 10 grand a month. So they're getting positive cash flow of 20. 10 of it is going to debt service, so it leaves that borrower with a 10K a month net positive cash flow. But it's only temporarily, because in any type of situation like we have now, or we had in 2006 fourth quarter crash, or we had before, the prices go up and down, but the debt stays the same. So the prices go up and down, what I call equity, what I call phantom equity, unless you're able to capture it, but the debt stays the same. So what happens in the situation with this borrower that has a great job, they're making 100K a month, they bought 10 houses, a lot of Airbnb super hosts are in that situation today, is that when the gravy song is going, everything's okay. But once the music stops, that's when people are going to have trouble, because they're not going to be able to service $20,000 every month or $10,000 every month to make the mortgage payments, because they have $100,000 job. Added that, they have to pay for their own mortgage, they have to pay for their own debt, their own student, their own food, etc. So they're going to be upside down very, very quickly. Where if that person that was making the $100,000 a year job, they saved some of their money, assuming that there was not so much printing of money going on. They tighten their belt, or they use creativity, imagination to take that money and create another stream of income that was very, very low cost. They didn't have to get into debt. Okay. Then they would be in a way better situation to buy houses using subject to investing, or OPM, other people's mortgages, or even buy the properties in cash, because if they're buying the property in cash, they have to save their money. They're not going to pay what the bank appraisal says it is. They're not going to just pay what the realtor says it is, because they have to work for it, right? They have to work all this life energy to come up with this money. They have to manage the way they spend money. They have to manage the way they consume money. They have to become a better individual of self-control to be able to get what they want. So in other words, they have to tighten their belt. But in a situation where the bankers will give you, or give the investor, the harvest, which is the investment property, without them having the money, without them working for it, it leads to a lot of fooling of individuals, where they turn their homes into ATMs, revolving credits. They borrow too much money to buy too many properties. And at the end of the day, they're going to go bankrupt, or at the end of the day, they're going to get a haircut. And I've seen it so many times with so many different investors, homeowners. Doesn't matter big, small. Doesn't matter what level of education you have. You have a PhD, you're a doctor, you're an attorney, all the way down to you just have a high school education. And so the idea of using debt, which is negativity, like you're in the negative, you're not even zero, you don't have money, you're below, right? Debt to get ahead is such a cock a bull that, sure, you can accumulate more because if you have 10 properties and each one's giving you $2,000, you have a positive, theoretically sounds good. You're getting positive cash flow from it, but your neck is on the line for this debt, right? Your neck is on the line for this debt. Now, it doesn't matter if you get in. Now, of course, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt in the sense that someone may, you know, borrow money and buy some shoes versus someone else may borrow money and buy a passive income property. Sure, those type of buying, one is better than the other, right? Because one is generating you income, the other one is just depreciating, right? But what I'm trying to say is that both debt are horrible, especially if you are signing up for it, right? OPM, other people's mortgages, means that I'm not signing up for that mortgage. Some other seller signed up for it. Okay. That's the strategy that I teach at MrNoFluff.com is to find deals where you can buy them at a deep discount with motivated sellers because you have your own cash. Or if you don't have your cash, and you could do OPM, other people's mortgages where they have the mortgage in place, they have the debt on their shoulder, under their neck, and you're just making monthly payments on their debt, but you get to own the asset. That's like the best of both worlds. Okay. Now, in the story where the seller's making 100K, they bought 10 rental properties. Well, the market tanks, which it always does. Okay, they're not going to be able to make the monthly payments for it. They're gonna now be indebted over $2 million, which they'll probably never be able to get out. Okay, if their job gets fired, if they get fired from the jobs, then they're even in trouble if there's two or three people not making payments and they have 10 properties because now the cash flow is not going to cover everything. Now, the psychological problem with debt being a really bad thing is that it makes people not work hard, not sacrifice, not use creativity, imagination, not to believe in their dreams because, who wants to sacrifice when you can get the car today and you can make 7-year payments? Why should I have to create anything? Why should I have to produce anything? And the other problem is that debt peniers and everyone else just borrows money when they have jobs is that they don't become their dreams. They never pursue to become their dreams because it's risky, it's hard, and not really realizing that, hey, just because you can just sign it something or you have a debt to income ratio or if you have some kind of revolving credit, line of credit, it doesn't really make you an entrepreneur. It just makes you a debt slave. And I know it's very glamorous in America for people to have all these shiny things and they think they're successful because they're indebted billions of dollars. They're billionaires because they're indebted billions of dollars. It's upside down. The world has upside down. What was true power now is not even looked at. True power is to be free. True power is to be able to make decisions and you don't have to ask a bank, can I get my next rental property? Can I please qualify for a loan? Can I please buy a new car? Right? That's not true power. And debt is just the biggest scam to control people psychologically because if you have to go and be your dreams and you have to sacrifice, you have to go through hardships, you have to do creativity, you have to fail, you're going to come out of this equation with a lot more belief system in yourself. You're going to come out of this equation with a lot more calluses. You're going to come out of this equation with a lot more skills. But if you just have to sign a piece of paper and they're going to give you money to buy a house or buy an investment property or buy a car, what did you get out of that, right? Besides the liability, and when the gravy train is good, when the economy is going up, when there's massive printing of money and easy lending, then these individuals will usually do really good. But what happens is the same individuals, the same businesses, the same investors usually go belly up when the music stops because it's a parade, it's a fake parade. Okay. Now, the other thing I want everyone to understand is that that controls you, controls the way you think, controls the, how brave you are. It kills your creativity. It kills your imagination. But worser, worser is that the central bankers, the Fed, and Big Brother gets to control you because so many people have college debt. They never go start a business because they're indebted. Right? They're indebted, and so they can't take a risk. Okay. So many people start a business and barely makes any money, and they can't just leave and do something else. Maybe they don't like it. It's not their calling. It just did it. They can't do it because they are in debt. And with debt, central bankers, the Fed, and Big Brother controls you, just like if you're working for the man and the man has to shut down because the government says so, right? Then if you have a job, you're screwed. But if you have your own business, you can say, screw that. I'm still going to continue doing my own business. Okay, I'm still going to continue doing what I want to do. And what we're going to see right now in the 2020 collapse and going forward is that debtpreneurs are going to be the ones that are going to be paying the most price. They're going to get wiped out. That's why you see Ford hurting. That's why you see GMC hurting. That's why you see American Airlines. That's why you see these hotels hurting because they have so much expansion and they have no cushion, right? They have so much expansion and they have no cushion or no safety net. They didn't listen to that story about the ant and the grasshopper, right? So they just grew and grew and grew and, made a lot of money and profits, but they didn't put any of that stuff for a cushiony day. And whenever you are a real entrepreneur, and you don't use debt, you understand that you need to have a cushion. But when you're a debtpreneur, you don't understand what a cushion is because you didn't have to ever go through any hard times in your life, right? When it got hard, you just borrowed money to pay for your employees. When you couldn't buy materials or you had to go buy a new equipment or a new location, you just borrowed money for that, right? You didn't have to use creativity, imagination. When I say you, I'm not talking about you specifically. More than likely, you're not in it because you're watching my channel. I'm just talking about the general public, general entrepreneurs. Is they're not entrepreneurs, they're debtpreneurs, and in hard times, they're the ones that are going to get hit the hardest. And at the same time, they're the ones that are going to be on the government's nipple. And the government wants everyone to be on their nipple. The central bankers want everyone to be on their nipple. Okay. That's why they want everyone to move into these concrete cities. That's why they want majority of people to get jobs. Okay. That's why in this situation, you're seeing majority of small businesses be called non-essential, while the big Fortune 500s can continue make massive profits because they want everyone to work at these corporations because they could take your taxes, they can tell you when you can go to work, when you cannot. They can control you through the controlling of these big corporations. And this is the era of the death, the massacre of small businesses. If you're a hairstylist, if you're a personal trainer, I mean, so many different businesses. If you're a restaurant, okay, because they want people not to be their dreams. It doesn't make sense, but they want them to have jobs so they could control them. Okay, when you have a job, you have a salary. You make 100K, you make 100K. You can't make more. And if you're indebted 200K and you make 100K, you're in the perfect positioning that they want you to be. You're a servant because you don't have time to study and realize that the central bankers are screwing it to you, right? They're diluting your savings. They're stealing your money. You're not going to have any times to go protest, to go and say, look, no, I want change because you got to work all the time. You got to work all the time. Not only you got to work, now your wife has to work too. And so we're in a situation where the wife works, the husband works. Pretty soon, the little kids are going to start have to work, just like the Great Depression, because of dirty bankers and dirty politicians that favor big corporations versus the average American. And a great example is this bailouts that, before the bailouts ever happened, since 2017, I've been bringing it to you that the bankers were getting massive bailouts in the repo market before even the virus happened, before any of this happened. 2017, I was bringing to my channel, 2018, that these bankers are getting billions of dollars and no one said anything. After the bankers got the money, now came the big corporations to get the money, like all the big ones, like American Airlines, all the casinos. I mean, the companies that make the most money should be able to be smart enough to have cushioning, but they don't. They don't. From GM to Ford, that's why we have to bail these companies out. We have to banks in the last crash. We've already bailed them out in this crash in 2017, 18, the repo market. Now we're bailing out big corporations. So basically, it goes like this: the bankers always get bailed out because they rule everything. Then their closest friends to the printing press, which is the biggest corporations, the richest families in America, like the Boeings and the Hunts family, these guys get the next money. And only crumbs come to the working class. Little crumbs, $1,200 paycheck, and they want you to use that $1,200 paycheck to go buy something for the big families to make money because, you know, what they give to them is not enough. So this is why I tell people get out of debt. But get out of debt. Get out of debt because debt is not your friend. I don't care if you use debt to buy a passive income. That's not the way to do it. The way to do it, this is not financial advice, this is my opinion. The way to do it is to listen to your heart. You don't need credit. You don't need money to be your dreams. You live in the best country ever, America. That's why millions of people would love to trade places with you. I bet you $1 million that I can find 1 million people to take your place in America, and they will come here, and 40 to 50% of those people will become multimillionaires. No joke, because they know how great it is here. So you don't have to come here and stick your hand out from a stinky banker for them to give you a hard money lending, or for them to give you a credit card, or for them to give you a home equity loan, or Halo loan, or home evolving credit, or whatever. Right? You don't need to do that. All you got to do is just close your eyes, listen to your heart, listen to what do you want to do, and you got to be able to take risks. Right? I mean, in a country that has all the safety mechanism, you got to be able to take risks to be your dreams. You signing a little piece of credit card statement to get credit card balances, it's not risk, right? It's slavery. It's voluntary slavery, and the more you're in debt, the more they control you to your FICO score. Your FICO score doesn't mean shit. I know a lot of people are telling you different. But if you want to be your dreams, you don't need a FICO score. You don't need a credit card. I don't have a credit card. I've never had a credit card, ladies and gentlemen. I never borrowed money to be a business, and I'm not trying to brag because I can't read, I can't spell. I'm like, I'm in more trouble than many people, right? But what I can tell you is that when you follow your heart, the moons and the stars will line up for you. When you follow your heart, you'll see stuff. When you have faith, unlimited faith, the world will open up for you. The universe will open up for you. But if you have fear because you have too much debt, you don't know if you can make the monthly payments, and this whole scheme with the PPP and small business, they just wanted to get all the small businesses in debt. They don't want the businesses to lay off people where the government has to give them unemployment. They just want the small businesses to get in debt. They know they're not going to be able to survive. And it's just a scheme for the government to make more money and to help out their biggest companies that buy them through lobbyists like Lockheed Martin, the Arab, anyone that got all the money, these bailout money. Well, they didn't get it because they were just great companies. They got it because they hired a lobbyist. They went and got a con man, Congress, to you know give them some money, right? Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, please get out of debt because debt is like it's killing America. The reason we're having the recession now is because we have too much debt. America was great not because we had the biggest debt. America was great, and it still is great, right? But what made America the world power? What made America the world reserve currency? If we go back into history, is that they had the most gold, right? Because they seized it from the working class after World War II, and then two, because we were the manufacturing of the world, and now the manufacturing job's been outsourced to China, right? And we don't have all the gold, right? Because we haven't audited Fort Knox, the gold industry, for a long time, right? So we don't have the gold. We don't produce shit. All we do is consume shit. And when you have consumption without, you know, producing stuff, it's kind of like obesity. That's what obesity happens. Obesity happens because people eat too much shitty ass food and they don't go out there and produce enough calories, expend enough calories. They don't go and walk, they don't go and hike, they don't go ride their bike, they don't go to the gym. So that's what obesity looks like. You consume, you get into too much debt, and you don't produce. Well, you have obesity in your body and you have obesity in the economy. And this is why I recommend that say fuck the bankers, right? Fuck the bankers because they don't get shit. They don't give a shit about you, man. They don't give a shit. Please understand. There are YouTube channels that I hear they're praising the Fed like the Fed is here to save them, to look out for them. They're like, yeah, man, the Fed is gonna look out for us. There are people on YouTube talking about how great it is to get credit cards and America Express Platinum, blah 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 blah. Man, dude, they're getting points and they're getting free travel, dude. That's all. Why? That's all. Think about it. No, there is no free lunch. No one's going to give you a free vacation unless you're paying 5 or 10 times that into them. No one's going to give you that, right? No one. There is no benefit of using debt. It robs you from your creativity, from your motivation. And in the book, The Alchemist, right, which is I highly recommend, from Pablo Cubello. I can't say his last name, but go check it out. It's totally free on YouTube. The Alchemist. I listened to it like over 100 times, ladies and gentlemen. But it says on there when that little boy meets the older guy, the king that has the vest, and he offers the guy, "Hey, I'll give you X percentage of my sheeps whenever I find my treasure." And the king tells them, "Look, dude, if you give away stuff you don't have, you're gonna lose your motivation to be your dream." And that's exactly why they manipulate people, is because they'll give them the car, they give them the vacation, they give them all this stuff, and they're just watching Netflix and playing video games every freaking day, and and life's going by, and they don't care that the government's printing so much money. I'm sorry, the Fed's printing so much money. They don't care that the government's paying Boeing and all kinds of stupid stuff with their money. They don't even know what's going on, right? They're just thinking about, I gotta get a college degree, get in debt at 50,000. They don't care that the cost of college goes up year after year. When I went to school, it was 30 grand. Now it's like 50, 60 grand for average college. I'm not even talking about top college. I'm just talking about just the average college, just a basic 4-year degree. Then no one cares that you're coming out of college with a master's, or you're going to become a professional. You're coming out of college like $400,000 in debt. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, how are you going to make it when you come out of college 200K in debt? How are you going to make it? Then, because that's not the only, then you get out of college, you need a new car. And then, inflation on the car, because easy money has made the prices of cars skyrocket, has made the prices of real estate skyrocket. Well, then they need a car. They need 40, $50,000 for a car because they've been struggling for so much. Then they need a house. They need new clothes for this job that they just got. They need dry cleaning. They need all this stuff. Now that they bought houses, they got to buy all the stuff for their home. And guess what? They're just getting into debt because their salaries hasn't grown like inflation has grown. So it's just a scam to help the elites sell you a lot of shit that you don't need, to control you, making you and there are people telling you there's good debt and bad debt. There is no good debt. Sure, you can make a bad decision, and in that bad decision, there's worser decisions in that, or better decisions in that bad decision. Getting in debt is a horrible decision. Now, in that horrible decision, you can do a better, which is buy an income that produces you money versus buying some shoes that depreciate, that lose their value. Yes, I agree with that. But getting into debt is the fucking dumbest thing to do ever. If you live in America, I mean, you can make, dude, where I'm from, they tell you in America, the money's just on the streets. And it is. Money is literally on the streets. I mean, whatever you want. If you just make a little flyer, you just throw it out on some people's doors, they're going to call you. You can make money. It doesn't matter if you want to be a personal trainer, you want to be a real estate investor, real estate agent, whatever. Pizza, restaurant, doesn't matter. You just, people call you and boom, they'll give you money. You want to cut grass, you want to clean gutters, whatever the story is. But the problem is people are thinking that to be their dreams, to have an opportunity to have unlimited income as high as the moons and the stars is risky. But borrowing money is safe. That's what the problem is. Right then and there, when you borrow money, you're already gone negative. That's it. It's over. Right? Now, I don't like debt. I surely don't like bankers, but I found a way to what I call OPM. OPM is using other people's debt, using other people's debt, because there's a lot of Joes that have signed up to get a debt. A lot of Joe plumbers that signed up to start a plumbing business, and now they don't have marketing skills, they don't have sales skills, they don't have follow skills, they don't know how to make funnels, they don't know how to make websites, they don't know any of this shit. Because some bank said, here's 200K, here's 500K for you to Joe plumber to start a plumbing business. Well, the guy borrowed the money, he's going belly up. If I really wanted a plumbing business, I would just buy his stuff 10 cents on a dollar, 20 cents on a dollar. And if I didn't have the cash for that, then what I would tell him, like, hey, Joe, you got the debt. I could just make the payments on your plumbing business. The debt is under his name, under his social security. The same thing can happen with any other business. If it's a pizza business, whatever, commercial real estate, residential real estate, Tesla cars, whatever, any kind of car you can imagine. There's hundreds of millions of people that borrow money on their car. They can't make payments. They're unemployed right now. They can't make the payments on the cars. I brought you videos where sellers are willing to come out 7, 10 grand of their own pocket just to pay the debt off for me to buy the car or allow me to take over their payments. I don't want to take someone's car payment, but if I wanted to, it's out there right now. So the strategy that I like is smoking deal at pennies on the dollar, right? And the other strategy I like is I'm not going to get into debt, but if I did, it will be someone else's debt. So I never go to a bank, never go to a credit card, right? And those what I call this one is what I call the best worst option because I don't want to get into debt, even if it's under my name or I would never do it under my name. But if it was under some borrower's name, I would consider that. I've done that before, but that's not my best option. My best option is to use imagination, creativity, and be able to do that. Okay, to create enough cash or cash flow to buy whatever I want at a deep discount. That's my best option, right? That's what I love to do. That's what I've done all my life. Never had a job, never worked for the man, never done a resume, never had to kiss no one's ass. None of that stuff. And I'm being real with you. Since high school, I've been working for myself. Never had a job. Never. Don't even know what a resume looks like. I couldn't even go into a job interview. I couldn't have told me people tell me what to do, how to do it. And that's what I try to teach people because everyone is a free man. Every one of you guys here should be free man. Should do whatever the fuck you want to do. Not because what you got to do because you have pressure from the bank or because you have so much payments to pay. And the other thing is, man, you know, in the story of that home seller that has a job making 100K and they went and bought 10 homes, maybe they were okay if they would have just bought one home or two homes. But because of them being able to get so many homes because easy money, now they're in big trouble. So what I'm saying is just because someone can make the monthly payments, the minimum monthly payments, that's what the bankers want you to believe. That eventually you're going to get so upside down that you're dancing with the devil. Right? You're bargaining your soul with the devil, and they want you to think you can afford it. You can afford it. You can get more houses. You can get more houses, and before you know, the foundation that you were on has disappeared. The economy, you're in charge of it, and more and worse, you don't even know that you have so much liability. You don't even know that you have 10 grand a month. You got to pay or 20 grand a month. You got to pay because it was just giving it to you, and the market was good. I mean, the bank said the house is worth so much. The real estate agent said, "Yeah, it's worth this much." They did a CMA. They did a CMA. The bank appraiser said it was worth 200. So your loan is 200, and today the house is worth 150, right? Or you got 10 of these bad boys, and you only have an $80,000 salary, and your job just got fired, and half of your renters are not paying. So you got no cushion, right? And this is why I don't like debt because if a person was going to get underneath the squatting set and they haven't been working out, they're not going to go in there pile hundreds of 50, 45 pounds on one side or 10, 45 on one side, 10 on the other side. No, they know they're going to get crushed, right? So they may just do it with just 10 pounds or 20 pounds, just one on each side because they know logically, they know street smarts that, hey, this is going to crush them. But that is like going in there Putting all the 45s on one side, putting on the 45s and trying to do in a squat when you're only 150 and you're trying to lift 5,000 pounds. And that's what dead does, because you don't get to feel the weight until the music stops. Once the music stops, then you're like, holy shit. Oh, this is so heavy. And that's why you blow your knees, blow your back, and you're out for life. And you say entrepreneurs is risky. Entrepreneurs is not worth it. Yes, entrepreneurs is risky if you're borrowing money. I mean, guys, everything is risky. Let me say that. If you're drinking water, it could go into the other hole, it could choke you right then and there. That's it, right? You're eating food, you can die. You can go to your grandma's house and get in a car wreck. So life is risky. But what I'm talking about is if you're an entrepreneur, you're starting with $100 using a new flip, right? How much risk do you have? $100. You're a debtpreneur. You want to borrow money 300K to start a car dealership. Well, how much risk do you have? You're already in debt at 300K. So real entrepreneurs don't use debt to get what they want. They don't use other people's money and like raising money and stuff like that for everyone to get in debt. Real entrepreneurs try to free people, like the slaves that try to free the other slaves. Right? They don't care. They put their life in jeopardy. They don't want to be cool. They don't give a fuck about that stuff. Their only goal is to free as many slaves as possible. And I'm telling you, deadpreneurs is on the rise, and there's going to be massive pain and growing. And because of deadpreneurs, because of so much debt from government, corporations, because of fractional reserve lending, because of central printing, it's going to devastate millions and millions of Americans till we learn our lesson. For us to be strong, we have to create. We got to create. We have two choices. We can create some other man's dream, or we can create our own dream. And I recommend in this channel, be your own man. Work your dreams, whatever that is. Right? If it's writing a book, being a personal trainer, whatever it is, I don't care. Right? So you have the option of being your dream or working for the man and working their dreams. But we have to get into a situation in America where we are not consuming more than we're producing, because we're consuming more than we're producing. That's called obesity. That's called a heart attack. That's called diabetes in humans. Well, in economy, they have different words, but it's exactly the same, because as Paul says, as above, as below. So if in your body you consume and you don't expend the calories, you will get obese and you will have major sicknesses, heart attack, high blood pressure, okay, cancer. Same with the economy, as above, as below. If your economy is just consuming and not producing, there's going to be major problems, diseases with it. And it may take 100 years. You're not going to, if you eat candy every day, you're not going to have a heart attack tomorrow. You're not going to get diabetes tomorrow. And same thing with the economy. It's not going to be tomorrow. But the era of debtpreneurs needs to be over, because I'm so tired of seeing debtpreneurs. They're flashing, flashy things. They have all the stuff, but the bank owns it. The bank owns it, dude, because here's the thing. Whatever your debts is, whatever you got as an asset or whatever cash flow you come in, when you got to put it together, if it's less than your debt, then you're indebted. I don't care who you are, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're making a billions of dollars a year, but you're indebted trillions, then you're indebted. If you're making millions of dollars a year, but you're indebted multi-millions, then you're indebted. I don't care if you have a college degree, you're a doctor, or if you're a janitor. If your debt overcomes all your assets, then you're not a free man. You're not a free man. And it's very easy in America not to be a free man, because Bank of America is willing to give you money. They're willing to give you credit cards. They're willing to give you home equity loans. They're willing to do reverse mortgages. The hard money's willing to give you money. Private money's willing to give you money. Everyone's willing to give you money. VPs, all this, everyone's trying to give you money because they're trying to indebt you. But in the land of the free, 99% of people, I don't have a statistic, but I would say 90% of people are enslaved, right? And that's why we're hurting. We need to be a nation of production. We need to be a nation of entrepreneurs. We don't need to be working for Amazons and making these fools rich. And no disrespect to these companies, but I want more small businesses. I want more small businesses. I don't want just to have one competition and no more competition, like how the bankers are. Now, if you're tired of the bailouts, if you're tired of banks getting bailed out, if you're tired of the bailouts from the American Airlines, GM, then invest in cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Invest in precious metals like gold. And I'm not giving you financial advice. This is just my opinion. But I'm tired of the bailouts. I'm tired of big corporations getting all the money. So that's why I'm out of the system. I'm not putting my money with banks, cryptos, and gold. That's it. And I say cryptos, I don't even believe majority of cryptos is Bitcoin, right? Because it's the only one that's decentralized. It's the only one that no one owns. There's no CEOs. There's no one that has a vast interest. There's not one corporation in the world today that functions like Bitcoin. There's not even one business out there that, because no one owns it, right? No one owns it, but everyone can be part of it. So if you're tired of the bailouts like I am, then consider other options. Because if you take your money out of the banks will go belly up. They have no money. For example, this bailout that just came in, small business PPP, whatever, right? Paycheck protection program. What a joke. What a freaking joke, dude. The small businesses didn't get the shit, right? And they want the small businesses to get into massive debt so they can't pay it off. And the reality is that Big Brother, like the states, they don't have the money to pay for the unemployment. So they're trying to get you to get into debt because they know if they could get enough of you small business into debt that you'll go bankrupt and then you have to get a job and then they can control you a lot more. They can tell you when you can be off, when you can't. You're working for the man, and they just want people to be part of the machine, right? But Freeman, civil disobedience, says, "Fuck the bankers. I don't work with those guys no more. I ain't gonna borrow no money from a bank, right?" Free civil disobedience says, "Look, I could use my imagination instead of borrowing 100K. I could use creativity. I could straighten my belt. I could sacrifice. I could take some pain to get what I want. I might not get it today or tomorrow in a year or 2 years. I might have to work for it 5 years, but I'm going to get it. Versus that I just signed something and they giving me a car to give me a business, and then I got to work the next 100 years. Hopefully, I could pay it off. Hopefully, because most people don't. If they weren't just giving away money, then maybe more people in America would own their house. I mean, how many people have I met as sellers? My students have met that they should have a lot of equity, but they use the homes at the ATM. They keep refinancing, and just I'm like, dude, now you're indebted 5 million bucks. You make 80 grand a year. You make 100 grand a year. You make 500, man. How are you ever gonna get out of this debt, dude? And yes, and yes, everything is risky. And this is coming from a guy that loves to be a landlord, right? Being a landlord is risky. It's risk because renters cannot pay. It's risk I have to babysit. The price may get on fire. All this stuff, right? But it's way riskier if I get the loan under my name, and that's why I never do it. That's why every business I ever started, I just started with $100, imagination, creativity, no credit cards, no debt, and I just put the grind into it, right? I put the grind into it. I sacrificed, and you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it puts calluses in your hand. It teaches you a lot of skills. Sure, I had to get knocked down a lot of times. Sometimes I had to go to bed crying. I'm not even joking, guys. 40 years old, I've cried many times because I got knocked the fuck down, right? But it helped build those jaws of steel, right? Because I've got knocking down. It helped creativity. And instead of me begging, I got wings to be my dreams. And that's what I try to teach my students is that you don't need legs and walk and hands. You got wings, man. You can just be your dreams. It will take hard work. It will take hard work. Only thing that's easy is debt. Let me say that. Only thing that's easy is debt. They'll just you just sign a piece of paperwork. You don't have to do. You don't have to even break a sweat, dude. Right? You don't have to prep or nothing. You just here and then here this, and then they'll give you some money. Right? That's not your money, and they don't care that you know the house may not be worth that, but they appraise it as that. They don't care that you're not going to be able to make any profits in this business that just lends you 200,000. I mean, you know how many people that I know, good friends that borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars. They started restaurants, they started businesses. They all went belly up. They all went belly up, ladies and gentlemen. All went belly up. Okay, and that's crazy, crazy. Right? They all went belly up. Even Ford has gone belly up. We had to bail them out. GMC, all the banks. So that shows you that debt is no good, man. Debt is no good. Debt is dancing with the devil, and it always will trick you. It will always trick you. So it's better to buckle up. It's better to not have the newest 2.0. It's better to be free, to be able to make decisions the way you want to make decisions in life. Where you versus you have to work, versus you have to pay the minimum payment because you don't know what to do because the credit card company is calling you, creditors calling you. I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, the credit crunch is coming. The bankers are gonna. They know that bad shit's about to happen. That's why they're taking people's credit cards balances, just like the last crash. That's why they're not allowing people to refinance their homes or use it at ATM now. That's why they're making it harder for people to borrow because they know about hard times about to come, and a lot of people are going to lose everything they worked for. They've already lost a lot of stuff in their equities, in stocks, and pensions, 401s. Now they're going to lose in their real estate, and they don't want people to, you know, get their equities. They want them to take the losses because they're always willing to lend to people when the market is going up, and they're never willing to lend to people when the market is coming down. When there's the bargain sells, when the bargains are there, they're never willing to lend. Have you thought about that? Why is that? Why is it when things are going up, they're just giving away money? And when things are going down, when houses are down 50, 60%, when businesses, you can buy businesses at 40 cents on the dollar, when you can buy commercial property for cheap because so many people are defaulting, why did they not lend at that time? That's the time to make wealth. Why didn't they lend at that time? Right? Have you thought about that? Because it's the game to control everyone, dude. It's a game, and the game is to get into more debt. I'll take some comments, guys. If you have any questions, comments. Before I forget, you guys can download my free book, guys, at mrnofluff.com. And don't forget about my profit sharing coaching, guys. My profit sharing coaching, you can get pre-recorded for 197, 1 month of coaching, or you can get one-on-one with me for 3K for a whole month. Milo, about to do the same, brother. Good, good, man. Max Cartel, what's going on? There is no good debt, but most Americans want to believe some debt is good because they have a lot of debt. Man, and that's the Acer, man, you just nailed that shit on the top. You know, when I come and talk, most people don't like what I say, right? Because what I say goes against what they've been taught, right? Like go to college, get into massive debt, go get a job with the man, or you use your home equity, keep sucking it out, keep go buy more homes, go buy more homes, and all that stuff. Get into debt because everyone is in debt and they don't like the truth. They like to listen to another sheep that tells them, "Look, man, American Express has great rewards. If you spend $5,000 in the fire, man, what the fuck? Dude? You're listening to a sheep that's indebted. You know what I'm saying? A free man will never tell you to get into debt. Never. I don't even give a fuck if it's a good debt because if an opportunity is here, if there's a house that's worth 100K and you can buy it today for $40,000 cash, and if you don't have the money, then you don't deserve this opportunity. If you don't have the skill sets to negotiate, to create an OPM, a subject to, then you don't deserve it. There's no way you should be able to get this property because you can go borrow, put it on your credit card. There's no reason you should do that. In no other country does it work like that besides America and the other ones that are using central bankers. But people don't want to listen to that. They think that there's good debt. There is no good debt, dude. You've been fooled, right? You've been fooled. There is no good debt. There are a lot of rich people that tell you there's good debt, but they're not rich. If you add up, they're not going to tell you. If you add up the debt they have, I don't care with all the businesses, the real estate, everything you add, and add up the actual money they have in their savings or in gold and cryptos, and then add up how much cash flow they have, they're going to be way negative, even from the president. That's why he loves negative interest rates. That's why he's pushing for negative, because he has so much debt that he wants the bankers to pay him to get into debt, right? And that's the insane thing to say. That's the insane thing to say that you want obesity versus productivity, right? Insane thing to say. You guys have any questions? I'll be happy to answer it. We do produce a lot of stuff. Most of price automatically factored. The stuff that's good is not being. And man, I agree with you, man. My man said that we produce stuff like guys. I love to buy stuff made in America. I know it costs more, but I know it's way better quality, or it should be better quality than Chinese made. Guys, these guys, I'm not sponsored by these guys. Like, I got just one pair of shoes, guys. So you know what? I'll buy a good pair of shoes. These are what's the name of these guys? King, made in America. I just buy some glasses today because I love to buy. A lot of bugs go into my eye. I paid more because it was made in America. I love to buy shit made in America. I don't have to buy 50 of them. So I could just need one that's gonna last me 3 years. I'd rather buy one pair of shoes that's gonna last me 3 or 4 years versus buying 50 different shoes. I'd rather buy one pair of glasses that's better made, greater quality, it's gonna last me 4 or 5 years versus go buy 50 little cheap ones. Right? So I love stuff being in America. There are stuff being made in America, but you're not gonna find it on Amazon, that's for sure. You surely ain't gonna find it at your Walmart, and you surely ain't gonna find it at your Target. You may find it at REI, and this is not as a sponsor. I just love those guys. I love their policy, love everything about them. I love how they're debt free. Like, so what I'm saying is, I love companies that are debt free because they treat their employees better. They have better policies. Everything's better about them, right? They don't have to push you to sell you some shit. You go to REI, just like me. I'm debt free, and people wonder why does this guy don't have a sales team? I don't need to sell anyone. If you want to use my services, I got a website that's everything's automation. If you have the skill set, you have the drive, you have the motivation, you'll do it. And if you don't, you need a sales guy, good luck to you. Someone else will sell it to you. And more than likely, you're not going to get the results you're looking for because you couldn't make a decision by yourself. That's why we don't do it. So companies that are debt free usually have better services and quality than companies that are totally indebted because they got to come up with the next 2.0 just because they got to make the mortgage payments on their properties or in their businesses, whatever. All right, let's see. I'll take some questions. Says Mike, how can you compete with the hedge fund money and international money snatching up all the real estate deals? That's a really good question. That's man, guys. See, I live in a world of unlimited resources. Like Earth, I mean, think about it. Like, Earth is just floating in some black space. But below nowhere, there's no air, there's no oxygen, there's no water. But this little Earth here has everything for us. Like this little tree gives me an apple. If I plant that little seeds, I can get more trees, more apples. So we live in a world of unlimited resources. This depends on the mindset. Maybe for some people, they think that this is not going to work for them. There's too much competition. I can't compete, so they're going to set it out. For me, there's in America, there's so much abundance. There's business for everyone. A hedge fund, they're not going to go talk to that one home seller. They're buying blocks from REOs from the auction. They're buying bundles. They're not going to be talking about one home seller. So see, for example, a giraffe eats a totally different type of food than a lion does. So there's food for everyone on the planet. And that's what I'm trying to get to. So I think, in my opinion, 2019, 2020, 2021, there's going to be way less competition than ever before in real estate. Everyone's going to be tapped out. There's no money for them to borrow. Agents and wholesalers and house builders are going to be exiting the industry. And there's going to be less competition. Competition was when the market was going up. You had all these people in here that should have been in here, plus all the hedge funds. But again, it's kind of like, uh, let's say I'm a little fish, and that's a shark. Well, we eat totally different things, right? So I'm not competing with those guys because I don't buy from banks. I buy from homeowners direct. So it just depends on your mindset and what you see. If you see a world of limited resources, then you will take that kind of correct action to get limited results. If you see a world of true abundance, like I do, that's why I've never borrowed money because, dude, I could just close my eyes. Like today, I'm reaching you for free. I'm getting all these people buying my books, buying my courses totally for free. You can do that too. That's why I do this YouTube channel. I mean, we live in the best era ever. We have free internet, social media. I mean, think about it. Everyone has a smartphone. We're living in an era of massive fear, massive motivated sellers. So it's the greatest opportunity ever. But some people will see the same exact fear and say, oh, this is very, very dangerous times. And it's true. It's very dangerous times. Other people like me, they see that same exact fear in the air and say, "This is the best opportunity ever, best opportunity ever." And not because things are going to go nice, because things are going to get ugly, but only for the people that borrowed money is going to get ugly for them, right? And everyone, like my friend said, have borrowed money from the federal government, the state, the corporations, and they're going to be hurting. And that's why I say the collapse of the dollar is near. But good questions, guys. All right, let's see. Sean Perry. Good morning. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Do you think Sean says? Do you think there will be a fire sale in real estate in the coming months? Absolutely, absolutely. I know that there's going to be a major pain coming in. Okay, so you got to think about it. I don't watch Warren Buffett, but here's a guy that's always talking about the long play. He just dumped American Airlines because in his heart he knows this crash coming down is going to be a long term misery, right? For a guy that's holding buying for long term, he knows his doom and gloom, like I've been telling you guys. So that's why he's not going to be holding it out. He's going to lose more money. Now, real estate is different than the stock market because the stock market happens really quick. Real estate is a slow process. And when the fire sales happen, it's going to be like someone that has to use the restroom. They haven't used it for a long time. They've been holding it, holding it, holding it. Because if you look at the market right now, if you drive around in your own local backyard, you'll notice there's not that many houses for sale going on right now, right? Because everyone's holding it in their pants. They got to go to use the restroom, but they're scared because of this. They watch too much news, so they're not putting their house for sale. They're just holding it, right? They're just holding it, right? And then once they think it's good, everyone's going to go to try to pee at the same time, right? Because they've been holding it for such a long time. You're going to have these home sellers that've been holding it. They got to sell their home, but they're just like, okay, now I got to sell. They're not in trouble. Then you got the home sellers that are in trouble. Forbearance are going to come into play. You got these small investors that have like 10 houses or less. They're going to be in trouble. You're going to have the Airbnb. You're going to have the home builders. You're going to have massive people losing their jobs. Everyone's going to come pee at the same time, right? If I can just analyze it, which they're going to put their house on sale at the same time. And guess what? Credit crunch is already here. So what did I just say, guys? There's not enough money. There's not enough borrowers, and there's going to be tons of inventory hitting all like, like when you let go, you've been holding. That's what it's going to be like. There's going to be a flood, and unfortunately, retail buyers are not going to be able to get loans. The debtpreneur investors are going to be not going to be able to get loans, and it's just going to leave the cash buyers, hedge funds, and people that have special skills like subject to that I teach to find motivated sellers and structure the deal and let them know that, hey, this is not your best option, but this is your best worst option. But your best option, thanks to the Fed, thanks to Big Brother spending, has eliminated all your equities, right? Or made it tougher to sell because there's no credit for people to buy. So do I think there's going to be a fire sale? Absolutely, but it's not going to be like the stock market very, very fast. It's going to be here and there, here and there. But we're going to see the most movement coming out when the forbearance program is over. Okay, when the forbearance program is over, that's when you're going to see massive, massive devastation in America. And as time goes by, you're going to see more and more devastation because we are not going to have a U-shaped recovery or V-shaped recovery. We're at the end of the dollar. They're printing so much money that other countries are now thinking about like, hey, this money ain't backed by shit. By our foreign policies, by using the dollar as a weaponization, sanctioning people, all this shit, right? Tariffs, this man, we're not going to be the elite country coming up. And I don't want that. That's why I do my YouTube channel. If you want America to be great, you got to start a business today. You got to be your fucking dreams today. You got to say, fuck the banker. But if you want America to go down the toilet, you keep borrowing money. You keep borrowing money. You keep borrowing money and don't produce shit. because eventually we're not going to be the world reserve currency, and then you're going to see how devastating it is in America, where majority of people don't even have any 400, $500. They have no cushion. The Fortune 500 companies don't have no cushion. How can the average American have cushion, right? So we got to go back to producing. We got to go back to listening to our hearts. We got to go back to small businesses. We can't be bailing out these fucking big companies. We can't have the Fed or the bankers decide who are the winners, who are the losers. No, screw them. If you're a big company, you fucked up, you bought your own stocks, you didn't invest into your corporation, into your employees, then go bankrupt. I don't care if you're a Bank of America. I don't care if you're a Bank of American Airlines. I don't care if you're a home builder. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you didn't save enough for a cushion, you borrowed too much, you grew too fast, then it's time to pay the reaper. We should not bail you out, because who's bailing you out? Me. You. We're bailing out all the stinky bankers. We're bailing out Lockheed Martin. We're bailing out the airlines. We're bailing out the gambling casinos. We're bailing out all these people through us. The government has no money. They're a leash. The government is a leash. An analogy is a leash. It's hard to ask for a leash for blood. The only blood the leash can give you is your own blood, because it sucks it off of you. Governments are parasites. They don't produce nothing. They're living off our taxes. How can they give us anything? Let me tell you that again. Governments don't produce anything. The police guy that tickets you, right? They're producing from you, because they give you that ticket. They're getting money from you. They don't produce anything. They don't produce cars. They don't produce airplanes. They don't produce masks. They don't produce shit besides crime, right? Besides debt. Besides letting their elite friends make billions and billions and trillions of dollars, right? Where when the times are good, profits are theirs. When times are bad, losses is ours. That's such a baloney. That's such a baloney system, dude. Baloney system. And we need to get rid of that system. Guys, click the like button. Support this channel. And don't forget to get my books, guys. Totally free at mrnofluff.com. AJ says, preach, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Let me see what else you said. Iron says, it's going to be ugly for people who bought a home 2015 to 2016. Man, and you said that perfectly right. That's what I've been saying since 2016. I said, guys, if you guys bought a house, and I know so many people. Now, here's the thing. I've talked to a lot of home sellers, and there's a whole lot of home sellers are military, because government is the biggest employee now than Apple, than any company out there. And so they've given a lot of soldiers VA loans with no money down, no money fucking down, nothing. They were able to just buy a home just by making a first month payment, right? What do you think is going to happen to these homes that they put no money down? They just bought it last year, the year before, or all the way back to 2006. What do you think is going to happen to that home, right? Do you think these guys have any skin in the game to make the monthly payments? Mm-mm. Do you think their houses are going to have any equity? Mm-mm. And look how many military people there are, and a lot of them got VA loans with no money down, right? What about all these people that got FHA loans with like 3% or down payment assistance? How much do you think they have any equities? No, dude, no, no. And whatever equities they got, the bankers tricked them into refinancing or using their home as a revolving credit or whatever. So we are sitting here at a massive debt with people who don't have equities, and whatever equities they had got evaporated or will be evaporated from homes to real estate. And the people that are going to pay the price, like I said, or my last video, everyone's going to pay the price, but the people that are going to get hit the hardest is the old timers and the millennials, the new kids, man. Right? The old timers, this is their time to retire. Their equities and their 401s and their stocks has evaporated, and they'll evaporate more, in my opinion. The prices in their homes have evaporated, and Social Security is going to be on the verge of default. Don't print the money and give it to them, but they ain't going to buy nothing because of inflation. And so these are going to be the most hardest people, and the new people, the millennials, the young people, because dude, everything's so expensive. They have so much debt that unbelievable. Just with just a 4 year college, with just a car, they're over $100,000 in debt. And it's gonna be hard times, man. Very hard times. But guess what? There's a lot of opportunities here. This is not blues and blues. I was gonna say goose, but most of you guys don't know what that means. But great opportunities here. A lot of Americans are gonna get slaughtered. And I hope it wakes them up. I hope they go and protest. I hope they do civil disobedience where they take their money out of the fucking banks, where they don't trust the banks no more, where they don't get into debt no more. They don't trust Big Brother anymore because none of these programs is here for us. They're just here for the elites. And I'm sorry to say that, but you can see it every time, dude, every time, right? And so because we can't be free men with central bankers. We can't be free men when they're printing our money, diluting our savings. They're stealing our life energy. We can't ever be free men like that. Free men comes from being who you want to be, do what you want to do, not because you're forced into, because you choose to do it yourself. And I recommend everyone to be a free man or woman. Be your dreams. Don't do a stupid job you don't want to do. It's hard. It's risky, and you could go homeless. I've gone homeless, being my dreams many times, but I've always came back, and I always had abundance, and that's why I was able to let go of all my stuff and give it to the homeless people. Even though I created a little fortune to myself, what people call you're multimillionaire, it didn't bring me any happiness. I bought the lie of more consumption, more growth, more stores, more businesses, more doors, and every time I went to the top of the mountain, it was just a bunch of baloney because I was trying to get more and more and more. And it was a disease called cancer, right? And, I solved that disease. Now I'm a millionaire. Like you see me wearing the same exact clothes, same exact shoes. All my stuff is into a bag because I really realized the most important thing is to hang out with my family. The most important thing is my health. The most important thing is to be my dreams. If I want to write a book today, I'll do that. If tomorrow I want to start a restaurant, I'll do that. Whatever I want to do, I'll do it. I don't have to ask a banker at my job. And I'm a free man as it can be. And I recommend everyone to be a free man. It's not an easy road. There's bumps in the road. It's not glamorous because no one thinks being a free is glamorous when everyone's a slave. But I tell you what, it's the best thing ever. And I recommend every one of you guys to do that. Don't take no for an answer. Click the like button, share the message. Before I forget, get my free book at MrNoFlip.com. Don't forget about the profit sharing. If you want to work with me direct, I can help you get these subject to deals. I can help you find these OPM deals, how to structure it, everything you need, paperwork, everything. All right. You want to work one on one live, 3K 1 month of coaching with me. If you can't afford that, I totally understand that. I've been there myself. Or if you think that's too much of a risk because you can't talk to me or to a sales guy, then I recommend downloading the pre-recorded version of it. You get 1 month of coaching. It's just pre-recorded. You get to hear my students and I working deals, listen to live calls, structuring deals, how to help them answer all their questions. So you can learn a lot from that. It's like shadowing us for just 197. The bad news is that there's only 19 left, if I'm not mistaken, out of 50. And the other bad news is it's not a live, so you're not going to get to ask me questions. But on the other hand, there's so much value in these courses and this profit sharing, the pre-recorded, that you're getting it pennies for a dollar. You're getting it for like 97% off. So I'm very confident that if you listen to that, it's going to change your life around. And then you can go do deals and then maybe get the live courses, or you can go with your merry way and do more deals and be happy and be the man, be free. Thanks for watching. Click the like button. Don't take no for an answer. See ya.